Hi guys, straight from Nyarlia, because apparently you wanted us to present a workshop. So we're gonna present a workshop. Are we, Matt?
I guess so. I was not prepared for this. I wanted to get away from school, not go right back to it.
Well, that's too bad. Because we're going to school today. At least it's not etiquette school. Like, it could be way worse.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I'll just have to roll with the punches, I guess.
So first, hi Terma, hi Diamond if you're still here, hi King, bye King, hi Pug, bye Pug, hi Hand, hi Kiwi, hi Inky, hi Foxy, and yes, it is workshop time. DoubleBlind gave us a workshop to read and talk about to you with as much enthusiasm as we can. Hello, Phantom.
I'm sorry, I was falling asleep.
Pick the fuck up, Matt.
There are plenty of good ways you could wake me up, you know, old glass of water. I got nothing.
Say it, that's the only way to wake you up is a cold glass of water? Is that how I'm supposed to wake you up every morning?
I did not say to wake me up every morning like that. I said if you want to wake me up, as in I was kinda implying that, you know, if I'm not quite with it, then that's a good way to just spruce me up.
Kiwi said fireball, so I guess if the water's not working, then fireball is going to be my next attempt.
At least I'll have water nearby to put it out.
So, tonight we are talking about character archetypes, tropes, and cliches. Do you know what any of these words mean, Matt?
I sure do. I know that tropes are things people don't like, and cliches are even worse offenders of the rule. Am I understanding that correctly?
I guess we're gonna learn, aren't we? We're gonna find out.
I guess so. Goody. Shall we move to the next page?
Yeah, I crossed out this double-blind person because he's not presenting, it's us.
Can't even do his own damn work.
So, we're Ravyn and Matt. If you don't know, we're from Everyone's a Cat Girl. And as DoubleBlind seems to have helpfully pointed out, I read a lot, and Matt only reads what school makes him read.
Hey, I read plenty of RPGs. There's texts in those.
Those aren't books, but I guess that, you know, that means you're still learning about character archetypes and story archetypes and tropes.
That's right.
If you're double blind, doesn't that mean you can see? No, I think it probably means you're blind in both eyes instead of one eye. So you definitely can't see.
Where's the logic in that? I thought blind just meant you couldn't see. So double blind, you know, it's kind of like a negative times a negative. It creates a positive. So it's like, oh, you can actually see. Isn't that how? I think that's what they were going by. Yeah.
I have no fucking idea. I don't think about it that often, but feel free to.
I will. I can do the math portion somewhat. I spent many years in math prison, so I know some things.
It's true, you're an engineer. You're definitely not like a bookworm. Hello, woo. Woo woo. If it's two people, is the double blind meaning each one has one eye blind? Why are you asking us? We're here to present a workshop. Why don't you ask double blind the next time they stream? Goodness.
I'm trying to think of the most trolly answer I can come up with, but it ain't coming.
Silly chat. All right. Here we go. We're getting right into it. Welcome to a lot of fucking text. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
Not Carl Jung again.
Who is this old man?
He's some psychologist or something. My teachers would never shut up about him. All right. Here we go. I'll start us off then. I'm familiar with the guy, somewhat. Archetypes. Carl Jung first developed this concept. In particular, he noticed that hero stories all had similar elements, and that all cultural heroes had certain broad attributes in common. He theorized that this was because human beings all shared a collective unconscious. that is a set of hardwired expectations and preferences about stories.
Those are some big words for you, Matt.
That's why I didn't write them. I think basically what he's saying here is that there's a lot of common similarities seen in stories that everybody can relate to, regardless of where they've come from on the planet. Let's see. I'm hoping to don't think too hard about the graph. Okay.
Don't think too hard about the graph.
That's what he wrote, or she, whichever one of them.
What archetype would Jesus be? I'm pretty sure actually that there is an archetype, like a messiahistic archetype, that symbolizes a Jesus-like character. So he's got his own archetype. Book, thank you so much, darling. That is, oh, it's not my channel. Anyway, thank you for DoubleBlind. That's very kind of you to subscribe. Did you see Henry Winkler and said, "You shall forever be a greaser from the 50s"? I don't know who Henry Winkler is or why greasers, were they greasy? Were they dirty? All right, next bullet point. An archetype is an idea, symbol, pattern, or character type in a story. It's any story element that appears again and again in stories from cultures around the world and symbolizes something universal in the human experience. Character archetypes include hero, ruler, jester, etc. So
I'm not used to hearing the jester one. I'm used to hearing the hero and ruler, but jester's a new one for me.
I think you're a jester. You kind of joke.
I'm not a fucking jester. No. No, I am not a joke. I just try, and you laugh. It's not meant to be funny. You're just laughing at other people's inconveniences.
Matthew, I didn't say you're a joke. I said you joke a lot.
Well, let me just get the fucking hat and with the little bells on it. Cause damn.
You can also stick your foot in your mouth because that's not what I said or intended. It's just that you were funny. But yeah, sure. Fireball to the face.
Well, I'm not gonna live this up. Alright, so next bullet point. Situational archetypes are situations that appear in multiple stories. Examples might include lost love, returning from the dead, or orphans destined for greatness.
And then we have symbols that appear repeatedly in human cultures. For example, trees are an archetypal symbol of nature, even in cultures that live in relatively treeless areas. Fire is also an archetypal symbol representing destruction, but also ingenuity and creativity. You are welcome, Ravyn. Oh, what nice, kind parents we have to grant me fire because I am a creative, ingenious individual.
Where's my gimme?
Got the jester roll.
No, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. Alright? No, I'm not the jester.
So there are 3 different archetypes. There are characters, situational, and symbols. And archetypes, it's very important to remember that these are universal. They are completely universal across cultures, across genres, across everything. And we'll talk about that kind of again. But just for the more serious note on this page, that's really the most important part to remember about archetypes. And then the graph is actually created by another psychologist who pulled 12 archetypes from the character archetypes and split them up into ego, self, and soul. That's been kind of derailed a little bit, and some people like that, some people don't. I just thought it was a cool graph. And it kind of shows you the different ones, like the main ones. But yeah, we will continue.
Woohoo! Alright, what do we got next? Let's see.
Uh-oh!
Types in everyone's a cat girl. Okay. Do I really want to read this part? I guess I don't have a fucking choice. No!
Oh look! It says Jester, Matt!
I'm not being paid to do this, so I think I'm gonna go.
Can't leave. We have to finish the workshop together, Jester.
Okay. Well, since it's got my name on it, I guess I'll just say, so some examples of archetypes for Matt, I guess. At least he's got hero in there. That's nice. Initiate. Does that mean I initiate things? Like I get things started, or I don't know.
I think that means you're new and you must learn, like an initiate to something, to a school.
Ah, like a beginner. Okay. The hero's journey and the quest. Light versus dark. Ugh. Red streak in my hair and a green jacket. What's the small text? Ravyn has the pages with definitions. Ask her. Do you know?
So it's hiding behind the kitty on the screen. But yes, I have the pages with definitions if you're curious. Here's a fun little side note. So there's 3 different archetypes for the quest, the journey, and the task. Those are all 3 different archetypes. The quest is the search for someone or something that will restore peace, normalcy to a troubled land or people, which is why Matt falls under the quest, because he is searching for the other men and trying to unite them. The journey, the hero's path, represents the journey of life, so Matt could also technically be on his own journey too. These are not all of the archetypes that fit, obviously, but just a few to give examples. And then the task is a superhuman deed that must be performed to save the kingdom, win the fair lady, or identify the hero so that he may assume his rightful position. So you can write any one of these. You can write multiple of them. They can fall into each other. There's a lot of overlap that happens. I just thought it was interesting that they are 3 completely different archetypes. And since I'm next, and look how sexy I am, I will read the next one. So Ravyn is a temptress. Ooh. Just because of Matt, and he can't, like, stop nosebleeding around me. Star-crossed lovers. With fucking who? DoubleBlind? Huh? And then magician. Situational archetypes. The unhealable wound and the fall. Put some damn clothes on. You don't have to sit here into the workshop, Foxy. Hi, Mr. Bubbles. This is your first time catching a workshop? It is not usually run by me and Matt. This is a special thing that was for our GoFundMe. So we got hooked into doing this as a thank you. So thank you for coming and catching it. And then symbolic archetypes, fire, red, and black. And then for some reason, we also have Kyler the cunt and Creepy Curdy. And DV's note even says, look, I know you both hate them, just humor me. Whatever. Here, I'll let you read Kyler's, Matt. You love him.
Oh, goody. I was gonna say, you could at least give me Curdy. She seems a little more, I don't know, tolerable. Alright, so Kylo, the fallen noble, the mentor, the warrior, death and rebirth, the void, good versus evil. What's with all these noble, stupid titles he has? The sun, gray, the magical weapon. Why does he get all these cool sounding archetypes, and I get the jester? And then the initiate.
You considered getting good and stepping up your game.
There is 5 feet separating us.
I think less than that, honestly. He's a much higher level than you, with a lot more classes than you, and you know, he did take down a very important other character for the good versus evil. And
what's this? What's this? Are you giving praise to Kylie?
No. Fuck, don't ever say that again. I'm pointing out facts, and just all facts, no printer, Matt, as the kids say.
Uh-huh. The internet forgets nothing, by the way. Go ahead with Curdy.
Anyway, Curdy. Her character archetypes are the devil figure, sorry, I didn't realize it was 2 lines, the outcast, and sage, which, I don't know, she hasn't really shared anything sage with me. Situational archetypes, supernatural intervention, heaven versus hell, and the journey. Yeah, because she comes out of hell herself, I swear. Symbolic archetypes, skulls, the underworld, and desert. Everything about her is just creepy. Always creepy.
I see skulls, and I just start laughing like, yeah, I see them. Thanks for pointing out the obvious, but alright.
They're everywhere. Get used to it. There's one in your head right now, Matt.
Oh no. I'm just a walking skeleton underneath. Everybody is a creepy skeleton. Even you, Ravyn.
I've got the creepy skeleton. Everyone is guarding your jester, by the way, and saying that people with senses of humor are more relatable than the standard badass. The Jester has potential. Kylo's closer to his ceiling already. Jester gets the great hats. I don't see the problem.
Okay. All right, I will wear the moniker a little bit more proudly.
Sorry that it's hiding on the bottom. Skull's the underworld desert, or the bottom for her, and then Kylo's bottom, is the sun. Great. Magical weapon. That wasn't worded as I wanted to. And then Matt's is light versus dark, the red streak in his hair, and green jacket. Green is also a newbie color, like a fresh sprout. You were a fresh sprout, Matt.
That much I do remember. Well, everybody has to start somewhere, right?
Oh, it's okay, Sarma. This will also be on YouTube and on Twitch VODs, but YouTube keeps it. So if you need me to repeat stuff or type it, I'm happy to. I didn't realize that it was all shrinking. I can also... Oh, no, I can't. I'd have to stop the PowerPoint. Just kidding. Thank you for the hydrate. Hi, Carmine. I have lots of extra ablative meat. Nani, you're a brain piloting a bone mech cleaner. Ablative. Isn't that like lasering off? Like an ablation?
Well, do we want to move on to the next one?
We can. I wanted to say really quick too that whenever you hear people talk about like, oh, are the curtains blue or is it just the author like writing blue curtains? That's an archetype. That's why that comes up. Because they're asking if the curtains are actually like a symbolic archetype or if they are just writing it because they like the color. So sometimes readers will pull archetypes from stories and assume, which is totally fine. But in classes and when they have you do reports and things, it can get really frustrating because you see people pulling things that you're like, nah, I'm pretty sure that he just got up this morning and it was snowing to snow kind of thing. Not because it meant anything or it was a pure day.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a bit presumptive. It assumes a lot of the writer. Not that you shouldn't be assuming good stuff of the writer, but basically that you're assuming that they felt a certain way or put certain attributes into their story, into their piece, just for some sort of notable reason instead of just like she said, you know, the curtains are just blue because they're just blue because I just like the color blue.
Exactly. Yeah, Carmine. Why is the apple red? And why are they eating an apple? Because apples are also a very common archetype across cultures to mean different things. Well, they could be eating an orange. So if they're eating an apple, that means that this XYZ, like you see it happen a lot now too, especially with a lot of book reviewers who are trying to dig into every facet of everything. And sometimes, you know, it's just a damn apple. And that's the first thing. Maybe they looked up and saw it in their kitchen and they're like, yep, that's what I'm going to put in the story. Why is it in the apple?
Yeah, like in school, I remember all the damn essays we had to take and all the damn essays we had to write and all the stories we had to read. And I remember the most common question being, what do you think the author meant by this passage? I hated that question.
Like, sure, sometimes there's a lot where we think about it and like go back and try and put in things. But most of the time, it's funny. I think one of my favorite examples is when people try and dissect why the islands are Ichi, Ni, San, and Shi. Like, we've had a lot of people come up with different reasons on why they're named that way. And honest to Sorsha, it was just a cute, fun idea that we thought would look good at the time and sound good. There was really nothing behind it otherwise.
That was literally it. We just thought, okay, cat's paw. Cool. Hey, look, they're like toe beans. Oh, that's cute. The Toe Bean Islands. We'll just name them Ichi, Ni, San, Shi. And that was it. That's as far as the thought went.
I once had to actively make up a meaning behind a soldier sniffing his girlfriend's pantyhose. Why? Why? No, for school? Gross. Oh, the things they carried. I read that in high school. That was a really strange book. Like, it's a good book. It was very, very good, but it was It was certainly a ride. Have a passage where a character eats an apple, but the first letter of each sentence spells out Granny Smith. That would be a formatting nightmare if you're trying to line them up. But yeah, like someone would have to really sit there and figure it out. I'm not Hemingway. How the hell does the old man in the sea think? I don't know. What does this passage mean? That they were eating a Granny Smith apple. That's it. That they were hungry. They needed a snack. And so they had an apple. Yeah, I forgot about the pantyhose. It's been a long time since I read that book.
Anyhow, shall we move on?
Alright. Next. Cannoli.
She's so precious. Do you want to start this one off?
Sure. So now we're going to talk about tropes. Archetypes and tropes are very similar in nature, describing situations that happen often in storytelling. However, where archetypes are universal across genres, tropes are especially common in certain genres or cultures. DB wrote, like Matt's favorite, the OP protagonist who solves every problem in a few days.
Boy, do I hate that. That makes me livid. I cannot stand that trope. Now that said, tropes aren't necessarily bad, but something that you see commonly within a certain range of parameters, basically. Exactly like she said, archetypes are more general, they're a little more universal, whereas tropes dig in a little deeper, a little bit more specifically. Technically, in rhetoric, a trope is a figure of speech which consists in the use of a word or phrase in a sense other than that which is proper to it, as when we call a stupid fellow an ass or a shrewd man a fox. Okay. It was first coined in 1530 and made popular in modern day by websites like TV Tropes.
Are you a foxy ass, Matt?
I guess it depends on who you ask. To some people, I'm a fox. To some, I'm an ass. Some people would call me a foxy ass. Thankfully, I hear more about the foxy than I do the ass, so I can't say I really welcome either one.
I mean, I don't know. Is it like a fox a handsome dude?
I guess it could be, but in this context, it's shrewdness. So, not really. I don't think shrewdness is is one of my better traits.
Agreed. Hi, Draconic. Thank you so much for coming. Kylie would never struggle against the encroachers. I'm sure there's some encroachers that give him hell. Not all the encroachers are easy, but, you know, Matt just makes them all look like final fucking boss monsters.
Wow. So, should I expect you and Kylo to hook up tonight, or?
Wow, can you fucking not? Get that out of your mouth. Tropes exist because of commonalities, and they can sometimes give readers a tie to understanding a character, but sometimes half the fun is having a trope and then subverting it. Yes, agree. Subverting tropes is one of our favorite things to do. There are also, oh, we'll get to that. But yeah, yes. So archetypes and tropes and cliches all exist because of commonalities and that they all give readers understanding. The biggest difference is that tropes can be more genre specific and usually have to do with like a certain type of something in lit RPG, fantasy, sci-fi, whatever, where archetypes work across all of those plus every culture plus everything. So that's why that's like the biggest thing. So all archetypes are tropes, but not all tropes are archetypes, if that makes sense. Let me go to the next one. So tropes still cover character situations and symbolism. There are actual thousands. There are so many tropes, and people keep making up tropes, and they get it on Trope TV. So stuff comes up, and there's like new ones. Is it okay if the story you're writing does not fit into only one trope? Yes, absolutely. Please use lots of archetypes, use lots of tropes, use lots of things.
I think these tropes mostly exist to paint a picture, to basically tell you that there's an explanation for the thing that you're experiencing, is my guess. So, if you sit there and go, oh, well, hey, who's this sexy lady who keeps showing up in all of these scenes. She always takes control of the situation. She seduces the men, then she kills them. Well, we have a trope for that. It's called femme fatale. That's what it's really meant to illustrate. And I'm sure Ravyn agrees.
I do. Just like Candace said, they're there to connect commonalities, and then hi Chocobo, and then it could be fun to have them so your readers are expecting a certain way, but then all of a sudden you flip it on its head and your reader's like, oh fuck, what? No, this is not how this is supposed to go, which is really, really fun.
Is it? I don't know. DoubleBlind wrote this, not me. Anyways, utilizing archetypes and tropes in storytelling is not a bad thing. They exist because people love them. Archetypes especially. It's all in the way the story is presented. Big emphasis here, please. Cannoli is a soft, kind, lovable healer trope, and people love her for it. I agree. Yeah, that second point, I adore Cannoli. I need that in my life.
God, I am people.
So, okay, I'll just explain this the way I think DoubleBlind wants me to. Tropes and archetypes are not bad because they exist in everything. If you're trying to avoid archetypes and tropes, you won't have a story. It's going to feel very lifeless because you're going out of your way to avoid letting the characters be who they are, because it's too closely familiar to a trope or a type, or sorry, an archetype, as they say. I think that's how he meant it. What do you think, Ravyn?
Yeah, I agree. It's not bad to follow one, or if you really like a particular trope, feel free to write it out and see how you do it. Everyone's story is going to be different, so your voice is going to be different, and it is not bad. And if someone comes in and says, oh, cannoli is a sweet cinnamon bun, which is like its own trope, and we're like, hooray, clap, clap, clap. That's what we were going for. So it's not bad. It's fine. And yes, to answer Book's question again, use many, many, many archetypes and tropes. And it's impossible to sit there and name them. Like, you don't have to sit there and write a story and then call out all of your archetypes. You don't have to analyze it to death. It's just like, it's good to know these things as a storyteller and like kind of what you're following along with. And archetypes especially are good to know, because if you feel stuck and you don't really know how to create a character or a narrative, you can just kind of look through archetypes and then start playing with stuff.
And to break character for a second, I like what the Candace said. Just don't feel the need that you have to stay inside the trope lanes all the time. That's very important. That's especially important. If you use a trope as kind of a jumping off point, and you think, oh, I really like, tsundere, for example. I like the tsundere thing. And over time, you find your character kind of clashing with the trope a little bit, and, the character turns into something else. Let it turn into something else. You don't have to stay within the lines of that trope.
There will also be hidden rules on certain tropes that you won't know until you publish and someone gets angry, and then at that point you just kind of let it go. It's what you write is never going to please everyone, and we say that in this slideshow too, and that's a good thing, because that means that we are a whole world of very different people and it will still hit somewhere. So yeah, combining tropes is good, subverting tropes is good. If you start with a trope and then kind of let them be their own character, then that's fine. Yeah. Oh, raid!
Oh, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you.
Thank you. Dad said hello. We are presenting our workshop right now, so we're going to keep going. We're on character archetypes, tropes, and cliches. We're talking about tropes. So thank you very much for coming in. Oh boy, what tropes is Matt? Oh boy,
here we go again. I can't wait. Let's see. Character tropes. Unlikely hero. I wouldn't say unlikely. That's kind of harsh. All right.
Surprising hero.
Okay, that's. I can't tell if that sounds worse or not. Underpowered hero. Yeah, I was level 1. I had to start somewhere. Situational tropes. Trapped in another world. Isekai. Yep. Subverted. Harem seeker. Okay, and then symbolic tropes. Mental monster. I don't know what mental monster is meant to mean. Okay. Well, I'm slightly offended by some of these, but I guess it's how the DoubleBlind decided to categorize me.
Mental monster means there is something always following you in your subconscious. I'm looking on the internet. And it's like an inner demon.
That feels kind of personal.
Look, I'm just reading what the site says, okay? Also, there's a little note down here that says, ask Matt what a harem is, Ravyn. Matt, what's a harem? Why are you seeking one?
Hey, I can't think of any ways to really phrase this without, well, no, maybe your culture might let this go. Alright, so a harem is when a male imagines having several intimate relationships with women. So, for example, if it was intimate relationships with my entire party and say no one else. The rules do change depending on who you ask. That is generally how I understand it.
I mean, no one else outside of your party? Then you'd be a really shitty man in Yarlia.
That's not the answer I was expecting. I am pleasantly surprised. Thanks for being Ravyn.
You're welcome. A harem is a sound I make when I uncomfortably clear my throat. Ravyn is not Matt's inner demon, I don't think. Unless, am I your inner demon, Matt? Is that what's wrong?
Far from it. Don't worry.
Damn, that would suck. Alright, me. Character tropes. Tsundere. You know, Finn called me that too. The shit is a tsundere.
It means that you're kind of abrasive and aggressive on the outside, but inside you're just a real softie.
What the fuck? Oh, shit. Anyway, situational tropes. Not distracted by the sexy. I like the name of that one. That's awesome. The last Lenore. And then symbolic tropes. We've got caged bird. I just need to spread my wings. The flame of life. And blue bird of happiness. I did not know that blue birds signified happiness in any way. So Bali is, I guess, my little happy bird. I get a happy bird.
It makes sense. Alright. I gotta handle the cunt again. Alright, let's see.
It does say yes, them again. Please just deal with it. What the fuck? I don't want to deal with it. There were so many characters they could have picked, and they picked two of the worst.
Just hate seeing that smug smile. I feel like I'm being judged. Anyways. Noble male. Wow, he's getting more. Min-maxing. Yeah, that's for sure. Not so invincible after all. Yeah, a small piece of me took some satisfaction watching him struggle with Magni. Love is a crime. Okay. And then snow means death. Okay. A lot of these sound kind of ominous.
I do. I don't think I've seen really Kailu in snow. Stone Island doesn't get a lot of snow. Huh. Well, it's not as big and burly as last time, at least, so I hope you feel a little bit better.
That's a plus. I still feel like he's getting all the noble titles. Mine aren't terrible this time. I don't think. They're a little more wordy, but that's all the attention I'm giving him.
Alright, Purity. Creepy bitch. Character tropes. Witch Doctor. Oh, that's a class. Her class is also a trope? Okay. Creepy good. I don't know about good, but creepy. Unstable horror ally. Yeah, that sounds correct. Situational tropes. Accidental discovery. Doing research. What did Purity discover? Symbolic tropes. Yellow eyes of sneakiness. Yeah, she has kind of orangey yellow eyes, and she maybe feels kind of sneaky, so I can see that.
I could see her glowing in the dark. You know, like a toy.
This is a happy bird. Your blue bird of happiness is a ball gag. Go figure. Bali is a happy bird. He's a perfectly happy bird. Scholarly voice. But if you look at it, the fact that her happiness is external can imply that it is escaping from her and she lacks happiness internally. Do I look dead inside to you, Hand? Come on, no.
You don't look dead inside to me.
I love every time I forget and then remember what Bali's full name is. Bali's Christian name is Balgak.
I like that.
Ooh, hottie cat man.
That made me a little uncomfortable for a second. Anyways, cliches. Like an archetype. A cliche appears again and again in different stories, but archetype has a positive connotation, while cliche, and some tropes, has a negative connotation. Why? Probably because archetypes come with genuine psychological force, and therefore we never get sick of them no matter how many times we see them. Cliches and tropes get tired from overuse. Archetypes never do. Okay, so I'm assuming it means something like, I don't know, something a guy could say. Oh, it looks like there's another one right below it actually that kind of explains this. Want to take that, Ravyn?
Sure. I like Matt trying to analyze this though. It's good. Typically, an archetype is also broader and more general, while a cliche tends to be a narrow, specific moment. So it's an archetype, or at least a trope, to see a team of heroes in which one is far older than the other. Such stories evoke both the hero and mentor archetypes. However, if the older partner says, "I'm getting too old for this," that's a cliche. But if the younger one doesn't, then it does, I guess that's more fun. So that's kind of breaking. That would be subverting the trope in a way. So he's saying that our cliches are usually very, very specific in nature, and don't use such broad strokes.
That's what it sounds like to me. They're more specific. They're specific cases within tropes. It sounds like something that is repeated over and over for effect, taking it away from the character's personality is how I'm interpreting that. Anyways, don't worry too much about using cliches in your story. There are still places where they fit, and that's okay. Just try not to overuse them. There's a little note here. Write what feels correct for your characters and world. Different themes attract different readers, and it's okay not to appeal to everyone. Remember, there are plenty of readers who hate Matt and Ravyn. Yeah, I don't think I have the largest fan base.
Okay, people can hate you, but they can't hate me. Why would they hate me? What the fuck did I do? No.
Welcome to my side of the fence. How does it feel?
I hate this side of the fence. Go to the other fucking side of the fence. I want to be on the liked side of the fence, not the Matt hate side of the fence.
You can't leave now. No, you stay here. You stay here with me, where you're hated.
In all seriousness, the grass is always greener, unless I set it on fucking fire. You set their stuff on fire. I'm going to set their stuff on fire. We love you guys. Matt is the reason I started writing my current story. That's so, see, Matt, see.
Yay! I actually have a fan. I have more than just one fan, but man, sometimes I can really feel the seething hatred. All I'm trying to do is do my best. It feels like I'm living in a, what do they call those? Those real-time dramas. They got the camera in your face 24/7 and the entire audience is laughing at you because you couldn't put together a piece of wood.
A live stream?
No. It was something on Earth. It's like real-time drama sort of thing.
Reality TV?
Reality. Thank you. That's it.
Cliches also come in waves of people disliking X thing, usually after it gets too popular. Okay, so I was going to say, to Stupid Hand's note, on a more serious note, I see a lot of posts on X and Blue Sky where other authors will go on there and be like, I am so sick of reading the following, and like list off multiple archetypes, tropes, and cliches that they're just sick of seeing because they're very popular at the moment. And I hate those posts. Like, they get to me so bad. Don't ever worry about what a few people are saying that they don't like, even if they have 9 gorillion million likes on it. It doesn't matter. Write your story. Like, don't let somebody's opinion, like, if you one of them was like, I am so sick of evil churches. Okay, fine. But you can do that really, really well. And you can have a good church that's going after them. And it's just, it's too broad of a thing. And I don't want somebody to read that that's working on a story that's been trying to figure out this evil church thing for the last 5 years, see that and think, oh my God, no one's going to read my story. Because that's not true at all. So when you're writing, don't worry about what people don't like. There's an audience for everything. There will always be someone that likes your story.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, breaking character. On a serious note, I agree 100% with what she said. I think the internet has gotten people into this kind of rage-baiting, hatred mentality out of everything. All I have to do is just load up YouTube, and no joke, my entire feed is filled with nothing but negativity. People are constantly trying to down one another and trash each other's work, and I find that really, really depressing. It's really saddening because it gets people to feel like, oh, what I'm doing isn't good enough. I shouldn't draw because I can't, you know, create a perfect hand. I shouldn't write because person X hated it despite 5,000 other people liking it. It sucks. It really hurts. It really digs a knife into you, you know? And I am of the opinion that you should always write what you're passionate about. You're going to find your audience.
Yeah, I know negativity sells and gets the most attention, and I know that hate gets the views, and I know that's why people do it, but for every person that I can tell that's here that we get into contact with, I never want you to quit writing. Like, I don't want you to see those and think there's any merit to it, because really at the end of the day they're not. And those were the people that just weren't going to read your book anyway, so there's no convincing them otherwise. You may as well write it for literally anyone else.
It's true. Yeah, it wasn't going to appeal to them in the first place, so why worry?
The MCU's everyone stand in the line in an epic pose is one example of a cliche turning sour a decade later. Really big one right now is the female badass who don't need no man, and we're all fucking sick of it. There's a great way to do badass females, and they're not really doing it. Other fan in the chat, Inky said, I like that Matt's a flawed protag. I approach he's not a slave for people to project on. Like, no power fantasy, he's human. Yes, we love that for Matt. See, Matt, look at all these people.
I have fans. But on a serious note, I'm very glad that those who like Matt like how human and relatable he is. That was what we wanted out of his character, and I think we did a great job with him.
I find myself thinking of the whole racing game arguments last year, Mario versus Sonic versus Kirby, when the best answers are, hell yeah, 3 great racers, or hey, I really like one of these. If they're arguing, they're doing it to argue. It's true. Like, just pick one. No one told you to get here and get mad.
Oh, mine's the best. Get in my lane.
There's no ability to predict what will or won't become a newly praised cliche versus hated cliche. Nope, that's why you just write what you love and then you see what happens. That is a Souls protagonist with a voice and personality, and I'm here for it.
That's one of the better compliments I have heard about him. Thank you so much, Carmine. Thank you.
It's just ahead. Yeah, I'm right here. Duh. Remember, guys, your story is awesome. There is always an audience. So please keep writing. Keep writing what you're passionate about. Your passion will bleed through. Just everyone who reads it will be able to see it. So remember, your story is awesome.
With that in mind, we are going to break away from the Matt and Ravyn character now and answer your questions more seriously. So if you have any questions or if you would like clarification on any of the things that we talked about, please let us know. Doorbell.
I know this is one of our shorter workshops, but I feel like archetypes are good to understand, as well as tropes and cliches, and kind of what they are. what you can do with them, why they're powerful, like why they go into so much and why they've been such a dominating force in storytelling forever. So we really wanted to like go over them and kind of give you the definition. I remember when I was in high school and we started talking about archetypes, it confused me for so long. Like I didn't understand just the concept of there being all of these themes. Like why were all of these themes being across the board shown? So it took me a while to really grasp on and like understand what the hell that meant. Hi Zatara, welcome to the tail end. Sahira is the best, it is awesome. Chocobo, this is a Ravyn and Matt stream. I don't see Sahira anywhere around here.
How dare you?
It's absolutely cool. If you have questions later, you can always ask us questions. Yeah, no worries, Terma. Like, you can ask us in the writing general.
I don't know if you answered this one already, but when you're conceptualizing characters, how much do you start with? That's a fun question. Did you answer this one already? No. All right, awesome. So, typically when I conceptualize a character, I start very, very, very basic. I'll start with some basic appearances, like, you know, how tall, hair color, eye color, skin color, that's it. And I throw them into the world. And I feel out their personality as I'm writing, and I know what and I try to think, okay, what situation do I want to throw this person into? And then I kind of let itself play itself out. One example I can think of is Dynamis that I'm writing right now. And the story features Carl and Lilybell primarily. They're the two main characters. And I went into it thinking, okay, well, Lilybell is going to be the one that kind of pushes him around a little bit, kind of encourages him to be his best self. That's my main goal with her. Whereas Carl is a book-smart, up-and-coming mercenary. And he wants to get revenge for the deaths of his family. And that's it. That's as far as I went. So then I just let the rest of it play out. That's typically how I handle most of my characters whenever I write.
So for me, it is completely dependent on the character and how important they're going to be to the story. So for example, in Cat Girls, if we have people running around islands and they go into a tavern and it's just like a lady that's serving there, and if I'm not going to have to remember it, I'm coming up with a hair color, eye color, name, and outfit, and that's about it. But I know what I just said. We'll talk about Sahira for a second. For Sahira, for all of her classmates, as I introduce them and like get them into the story, I sit down and I look at my map and I look at my world doc and I try and fit like each character into a location and kind of get an idea of their background, because it's going to be very important that I remember at least a little bit of these characters as I go on, since she's going to be attending school with them essentially every day, at least for like the next 5 years. So I try and figure out a little bit of a personality, a little bit of a design, and then a little bit of a background. And then I kind of let them talk. Like I'll have an idea of their dialogue. For example, I just introduced Melanie in this last chapter, and I wanted her to be kind of boisterous and fun and outgoing, which is very different from the rest of the nobility around her. And I knew that, so I just let her talk and I let her be boisterous and fun and outgoing. And then it helped me go back to like the first time she talks in chapter 2 with a teacher and kind of add a little bit more to her there. So yeah, it totally depends. And if it's the main character, then I'll sit there and think for a little bit. Matt got honestly very little thought, just cute 20-year-old gets sent to Nyarlia. Rye was the one who was like, he should have a streak of red in his hair. And I was like, why? And he said, because it'll look cool. And I'm like, okay, give it to him. That's fine.
I'm very glad I did that too. So I'll do a lot of the same thing that she did as well, where if I conceptualize a character in the beginning and I get to a certain point in the story, like we'll say 50,000 words in, and I've got a good feel for the character at this point, I will later on go back to prior chapters and build more of their character there as well, so it's more consistent in later chapters. Yeah, Kiki was a big one. Kiki was a really big one. All right, and then Chocobo asks, when do you feel confident in shifting archetypes for a character?
I skipped Carmine.
Oh, I skipped Carmine? Oh, what's your favorite archetype to break? Favorite archetype to break? Archetypes are a little harder to break because they're more general. Our cliches and tropes are really easy to break because they have a set amount of rules to them, but the archetypes are kind of like, oh, the hero, for example. Like, that's an archetype. That's very general. He's got to do heroic things. So I guess one way you could break that, for example, is, you know, the hero turns villain, but then that's a trope. Yeah. So
you can only really subvert tropes and subvert cliches, but like Matt, like I said, archetypes are super generalized and very like set. So the hero's journey can look different for every hero. It's not a set pathway, and the hero character can look different. And like you said, it could go villain, but now your hero turns villain, which is a trope. It can turn into where you're not the hero, you're just like a protagonist that's now a secondary. That's also a trope that I stumbled on earlier. So there's a lot of tropes for things, and the easier stuff to break is when it gets really, really specific and you know there's crazy rules to it, and that's when you start changing things. The OP pro tag that he was talking about earlier, like, we hate that trope, so we decided to have just a normal dude show up that was going to struggle for a while and had to figure it out and wasn't going to be OP in any quick amount of time.
So I won't spoil anything here either, but there's a story idea that I've been working on that wouldn't be very long. It'd be more like a short novella, but it was going to be something called You Are Not the Hero, and it was going to feature a bunch of overpowered, ego-driven protagonists who get their shit kicked in. It was going to be cathartic for me, and it's something I've been playing around with for a very long time, so I may end up doing that at some point. But I'm sorry for skipping your question, Carmine. I'll go ahead and move on to Chocobos. When do you feel confident in shifting archetypes of a character, for example, student to master? I'll let you start this one off.
I think that just depends on the story. Like, it wouldn't really be a shift in archetypes for me as much as it would be like a shift for character building. So if I have a character who's been learning for 2 weeks, I'm not going to call them a master at any point. Like, it would have to make sense in their character arc before I call them like a master of anything. So usually, like, that would be a situational shift in an archetype. Like, student to master, I'm sure, is its own situational archetype that's been done over and over and over again. So that would come up eventually, but not necessarily like, okay, I am changing their archetype now. It's just that character has reached masterhood.
What you're describing is character growth. That's what you're describing. That's not really shifting archetype, in my opinion. That's just the character coming to the realization of certain things, or them changing as a person. That's just storytelling. If the student becomes the master, then it depends on the context of the story, obviously. Like, okay, well, what did they learn? How did they get to that point? So on and so forth.
Hi, Sean on YouTube. Thank you so much for checking it out. We appreciate you.
I'm just reading through your guys' comments.
Have you written a scene only to realize once it's on page that it doesn't match the character and need to rewrite it entirely? Yes! Many, 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 many times. Thank you for the hydrate. Oh my goodness. More times than I think I or Rai could count, we have done that.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. That's probably happened with every major character we've ever written, at least at some point. We go, you know what? This is actually kind of out of character for them. Let's take that out.
So that is a completely normal and okay thing to have happen, is if you realize this is just out of character, out of scene. It'll happen when you are very desperate to move the story along or to move the character to the next point. I find that that's when it happens to me. Like, I'm just excited to get to the next point, and then I write it out, and I'm like, I am so obviously pushing this way too fast, and I can't be doing this. So then I have to delete it and rewrite it and try again, slow it down.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to get past. Is we want to get to the bits of the story that sound fun, and it's like, oh, I have this really cool idea for a character, and then you realize how long it takes to actually get there, and it can show in your writing that you're kind of impatient because you skip scenes a lot, you skip information a lot, and it's like, okay, well, these scenes and this information is actually what makes it all worth it in the end.
Also, Mistborn is a great book, and it does subvert a lot of fun tropes. So if you haven't read it, it's great. As a discovery writer, has a character refused to be an archetype you originally intended? That's a great question. Kiki for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Kiki was our tsundere at first. We were like, okay, she's going to be kind of bratty. And to be fair, so she took the first chapter because she said she really wanted to open it up. And then I took the next chapter. So I was the one to introduce Kiki. And I had originally written her as, being kind of bratty, a little selfish, a little tomboyish. I just wanted to throw all those traits together because those are really fun for me. I love those traits. And she kind of was like Ravyn before Ravyn came along. But then when Ravyn came along and she exhibited the traits so much better than Kiki, we had to go back and be like, nah. Let's switch Kiki's personality up a little bit. So her and I went back, we redoubled our efforts, and we made sure that Kiki had a completely switched personality by the time the first volume came out.
The other one was Ara. So Ara was just kind of like a back character, like in the background, and she was just supposed to be kind of a quiet accountant that didn't really do anything. And then all of a sudden we had to come up with all kinds of things for Ara because we had to put her on the boat or it wouldn't have made sense. So she was not supposed to be like a big main character, and like that completely threw us off guard. But it was fun. It was fun to discovery write that and to figure out like, oh, okay, this is happening. We can do this.
I was very happy it happened because it gave Tristan another character to depend on. I'll avoid spoiling anything for anybody who hasn't read the first volume because I know we've got Diamond and a few others in here. But it gave Tristan a person to bounce ideas off of as he explored.
She kind of became a mentor character from like quiet, silent side character, and then also, I don't want to say a babysitter, a protector. I think a protector is a better word. She was a protector.
Yeah, a protector's a really good word for her, like a bodyguard.
I think so far all of the characters in Sahira have behaved pretty well. I mean, behaved to the point of like, I know what kind of characters they are, and they have still been those characters. Melanie I changed a little bit just because like I got to her and we needed somebody really fun. Kiki, you dare reject your creator's designs? How could you? One of my characters is a mentally fractured Catholic nun. My writing grinds to a halt when I'm working on her scenes because she's nothing like the characters I normally write. Yeah, that's tough. That's a lot to take into account when you're writing. That's okay, Diamond. You'll get there. No rush. We just don't want to spoil anything, so we try and be good.
Just trying to be cognizant of people who may not be up to that point yet. That's all.
Yomi's hopped around a few archetypes too that I didn't expect, so she was also a good surprise.
Yomi's been one of our favorite characters to write for that reason. She even surprises us from time to time.
Do you include archetype notes in your world doc? No, like I said, honestly, archetypes and distilling archetypes and tropes are more for like the reader and having fun kind of analyzing the story and breaking it down. It's good to just be like aware of them, I guess, and the ones that you're writing, but it's not to the extreme of like you have to know. Oh, thank you so much, Carmine. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Carmine. Really appreciate that. Yeah, to me, archetypes. If you're keeping track of like archetypes, tropes, and cliches in your world building docs, to me that's too logistical. I feel that's a little too analytical. That's a little too scientific, and because it's a creative medium at the end of the day. If after you're done writing the book or whatever chapters you're done, if your curiosity gets you and you're just like, oh, you know what, this would be kind of fun to talk about with people, I don't see any issue with that. But typically, I don't keep track of things like that. I'll use some words maybe once in a while, like tiny tropes. Like in my world doc, I have Lily Bell's a tsundere. I have that in there. I'll admit that, but that's pretty much as far as it's gone with any of my writing.
Yeah, I think we did that a few times. Like at the beginning of Cat Girls, we would put like Ravyn's a tsundere, and then like obviously Ceres is like hot loyal knight, and Kiki is just like quiet and stalwart. Cannoli is the cinnamon bun. So sometimes we'll describe them that way, but if it's for like basic smaller characters, no. And then we don't go through and write down a bunch. Yeah, Ceres. Sean asked on YouTube, do you guys ever get inspiration from watching bad movies?
Boy, howdy do I love watching bad movies. And I don't mean bad movies that are actually so bad that you can't stand them, but bad movies that have some sort of the earnest attempt at trying to create whatever it is just turns it upside down. And it turns it into something they obviously did not intend.
I would also say that I get a lot of inspiration from reading books that I don't like. Like, I don't go into the book knowing that I don't like it, but I will sit there and finish them because I don't like having do not finishes. Unfortunately, in this last year, I've had like 3 or 4, but it will really teach you what you don't want to see in your writing. If you read a book that you're just miserable like the whole time, you'll definitely know by the end, like, I am never going to write this character like this. I never want to build the world like this. I will never use these words in these order. Like, it sticks with you.
It does, yeah. Just to parrot what she said, that's actually the inspiration that I get in a lot of cases. Is it will give me examples of what not to do. Essentially, like she said, I don't want to put words in this order. I don't want to write this kind of character or these kinds of phrases or this kind of setting, and you learn more about yourself that way.
Unrelated to tropes and archetypes, how do you guys handle writing blocks? I just hit a big mental wall that I can't seem to get through. All creative power just disappeared suddenly. I have a little print, and Dawn drew it for me, of like Lynx hugging like a rag doll, and it says the muse is dead right anyway. And I stick to this so hard. So unfortunately, there are going to be many days where your creativity is just sapped and you feel like you hit a wall, and all you can do is sit down and just keep writing. Don't stop. Like, get your fingers moving, even if it's something else. If you can't do it on a computer, like, get a notebook and just put some words down, or find like a prompt just so you can write like a little short story, because once you get the juices moving, that'll definitely help you start to see things. So if like taking a walk, going outside, stepping away from the computer's not working, still sit down and get your fingers moving, and I will let Rai do his response to you.
So this is something that happens to me quite often, and I have found that I force myself to write the scenes anyway, even if I'm not feeling confident about them. What ends up happening is usually one of two things. I'll come back to it the next day and edit everything that I have done to make the scene stronger, or it'll actually turn out much better than I had anticipated, and whatever I was thinking the day prior was a figment of my imagination, essentially. The writing is much stronger than I thought it was. There have been days that I finish writing something and I think, oh, this is definitely not my best work. And I'll get responses saying, wow, I loved this, or dang, this was really cool, or this character felt so real in this situation. And I'm over here just thinking, what do you mean? I struggled all day on that piece and you didn't notice any of it. So sometimes it can be part of your imagination. But I would say just write anyway. Just force yourself through it, because you can come back to it the next day and look through it and have a better, clearer mind at that point.
Absolutely. There are some chapters in Cat Girls there was one Curated chapter that I wrote. It was 1,200 words. It took me 8 hours to write that chapter because just every word felt like very important and I couldn't screw this up, and I just kept getting blocks, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna push through this. So it was the longest day ever, but it came out to be like one of the best chapters I think I've written so far, even though it was so short. So the best way to get over the mental wall is to force yourself to keep your hands moving. If you don't know what to write, start describing the outside. Like that's my go-to if I get stuck, is like, what's the weather like? What's the surroundings looking like? Is it that mid-afternoon and this character is doing something? You can always change it. Like, you can always go back to the beginning and write a way better beginning, but you've got to actually get the words down.
I agree. And real quick, bug pusher. Reading good books helps you know what's good, but reading bad books shows you what not to write. So it may sound slightly negative, but I find that I can learn more about myself and other people based on what they dislike rather than what they do like. For example, her and I have been reading a lot of Brandon Sanderson. We like a lot of the world building he does. We like most of the concepts he comes up with, but there's a good chunk of stuff in there that I'm like, I don't care for this. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. So it gives me ideas on how to use the stuff that I do like and sidestep the stuff that I do not like. Whereas if I were to, for lack of a better word, consume something that I like wholly, 100%. If I try to replicate it, I may find myself stepping into all kinds of pitfalls that I hadn't anticipated because I wasn't sure how to differentiate between what I liked and what I disliked, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you can always read books that you really love and still find things in there. Like that's a good thing though. That shows that you have a discerning eye and that you know what you want your style to look like. So it's not a bad thing. But yeah, like it's not a bad thing if you're reading a book and you love the author. Like I know that Han was just talking about Mistborn and I'm reading Well of Ascension and it's okay. I loved Mistborn. I loved every moment of Mistborn, and Well of Ascension is making me angry. And I'll post a review on it later on why. But there's just certain things that he does and approaches he takes that I'm like, why? Why did we kill the mystery? Why? I could have been sitting here with some questions for a while, but nope, I don't have any. I'm just gonna chill back now behind the wall and see what the hell happens. So, like, it's fun still to learn, and both of us agree that it's important to read across genres too. We will read anything. Like, I just read Jurassic Park and I read Fahrenheit 451, and then we've got like we got a sci-fi novel on deck and fantasy, and I love Chuck Palahniuk, and just you learn so much from a bunch of different minds instead of just staying in your one genre.
You really do. Going back to your mystery point super quick too, this is something that we dislike seeing quite a bit, is how she said, destroying the mystery and such, is if you present a question to your reader or your audience, no matter what format it's in, and you immediately answer that question, it feels deflating.
Yes, like, I could have sat on this for a little bit. You could have given me a couple of chapters to worry about it or think on it, or like it's just deflating, and it feels a little bit insulting to my intelligence. Like, I didn't need you to. It's like Blue's Clues. At that point, I feel like I'm seeing Steve like, what's over here? And then he's gonna answer it anyway. So why am I even guessing?
Oh goodness, there was a blue key behind that door after all.
He was now Mickey Mouse. Do we have any other questions? Oh, I'm glad that you feel the same way, Death's Head, because Rye was telling me that he saw some people who were like, oh, that's the best Brandon Sanderson book. I'm like, I'm kind of strongly disagreeing right now because Mistborn felt so perfect and then this just doesn't. Did Mickey Mouse join the stream 2.5 seconds ago?
I like making that noise sometimes. I like imitating that voice.
Okay, guys. Well, first of all, thank you very much for coming. Oh, what is favorite pairing of archetypes? I think Kailu has my favorite pairing of archetypes being like fallen noble style hero. Like it's such a good combo.
Probably either the trickster, or martyr. I like those archetypes quite a bit. Those are fun. But if you were to ask me like our favorites, like as far as our characters are concerned, as far as their archetypes, Ravyn takes the top for me. She has a lot going on, and I like her very much for the exact same reasons why Lynx likes Kailu. She's complicated. She's nuanced.
I'm a mess.
Oh, but you're a cute little mess.
Thanks. I'm your mess. Pairs also between characters, not necessarily just one person. I'm also a huge fan of star-crossed lovers. Like that hits me in the heart every time. Very good. Except Romeo and Juliet, that one sucks. Is it okay to restart a story if you are so stuck you can't move forward? Yes, if you feel like the best way to do it is just to restart the whole thing, then restart it.
I agree with her. If you have to restart it, then do so. I've done it 8 times on Drive.
I've done it 5 times on Bound-ish? I don't know.
We're used to this song and dance. There's no shame.
Don't cry. Just restart. Go ahead and restart. It's okay. Until very recently, I haven't been a reader, so trying to write without reading a lot of different books has been interesting. Yeah, it's honestly the best way to learn about writing is just to read. Like, reading is where you're going to learn it.
And perform active reading. So if you read a page or two, or even just like a whole chapter, go back and think to yourself, well, why did I like that chapter? Why does this character land on me? And really, really dig into it. Like, why do I like this passage? And you'll learn a lot about yourself that way.
Or why don't I like this thing? Like the mystery being wrapped away from me. Like
Exactly.
Yeah, if you have any questions at all, our Discord is always open. And for everyone on YouTube, if you're not on Discord, we are DoubleBlind with just the single Ds. We would love to have you. It's 18 plus. And then if you'd like to watch me and Matt play games, Ravyn VT is where it's at. And I will unfortunately be singing there on Friday, so gird your ears.
No, you sing like an angel. It's going to be great.
Thank you. It's going to be really freaking hard to do sober. I'm not going to lie.
But thank you, everybody who came in and joined us for this. We very much enjoy doing this, as you know, and we love sharing the knowledge. We like talking about this sort of thing. So please, if you ever have any questions or concerns or comments, let us know.
Thank you so much again for coming, and we will see you guys soon, guys. Love you.
Bye.